all because of the fact that we are willing to talk about things that other businesses, they just don't want to talk about. What I want you to see today is you have the ability to talk about things that you never possibly imagined. But if a consumer is thinking it, if they're thinking it, what's your name again? Carrie. I'm sorry, I didn't see it. Carrie. Carrie from Salt Lake. If a consumer is thinking it, you should be writing it. That's how it works. If a consumer is thinking it, you should be writing it. You should never, ever hear another question again without saying to yourself, have I written about that? Does anybody here ever get questions from consumers? I hope so. Okay, I hope so. Every question you've ever gotten should be a blog article. The question itself is the title of the article. Anybody that's starting a blog today for your business, what you need to do, and I'm telling you I've done this with big corporations, with small companies, all you have to do is say, okay, let's get together, everybody in the company that's ever talked to a consumer, and let's brainstorm. And just ask one question. Tell me, workers, employees, what are the questions that you hear every day? What are the questions you hear every day, Kathy? Now here's the thing. You've got 25 that you hear over and over and over again. Those are the first 25 blog articles. The titles themselves, they're longer titles, but guess what? Those are longer phrases. What's that called? That's the long tail, right? That's the long tail. So in blogging, if you want to be really successful, what you do is you go after the long tail because the long tail is less competitive. You let the big boys have those little keyword phrases that they own, pool or fiberglass pool, but then you rake it in with the long tail. It's awesome when you do it. And where does it start? It starts with your consumer questions, okay? When I first started blogging, every time I was just writing away. I was doing 3 or 4 articles a week. So I'd be sitting with people in the living rooms, the kitchens, or whatever, and we'd be talking about pools. I would hear a question. And usually sales dudes, when they hear questions, what do they want to do right away? You think you want to answer them, right? That's the problem with sales guys. We just want to talk all the time. True? Yeah, that's what we want to do. We're not good listeners, like my man said this morning. It got to a point where I'd be sitting there, and as soon as I would hear a question, the first thought in my mind was, have I written about that? And if I hadn't, as soon as I got in my car to go home, I'd write that question down. It was my next blog article. That itself was the title. That was the title. Okay? If you do this with your company, with your employees, you brainstorm, I promise you'll have 50 to 100 articles like that as a group. If you have a bunch of employees, I've done this with larger companies, and they've gotten articles in the hundreds. But at first, those first 6 months, it feels like you are going up a mountain and you're literally pushing it up that mountain again and again and again. But something magical happens, usually if you're doing it right, within 6 to 18 months in a blog. You crest the mountain. And when you crest the mountain, one day, that big snowball that you've been struggling with for so long, you will push it one last time, and then all of a sudden, it will just go on its own, and you can't keep up. And it's so neat, Kathy. It's a beautiful day. Today, I just watched my traffic grow, and I can't stinking believe it. It's unbelievable to me. It really, really is. That's the magic of momentum, and it happens with blogging, but you got to get there, and you get there by becoming a great listener. Let me tell you right now, the best keyword tool in the world is not Google. Absolutely not. It's your customer. If you become a great listener of people, you will never, ever use Google Keyword Grader or Keyword Tool again, because you won't need it, because your people are telling you exactly what they're typing in the search engines. Folks all the time say, I'm just looking online to what I should be writing about. I'm like, are you listening? When you get an email from a customer, are you looking for questions? When you talk on the phone, are you looking for questions? When you meet face to face, are you hearing everything they're telling you, and are you writing about it? If somebody asks you a question after they've been reading your content, and it's an obvious answer, you have failed as a content marketer. You have failed. Because when you meet with people, that is not the time to be the teacher. The content is the teacher. Your job is to sell them.